Hello and welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. Now today I'm going to have a look at a puzzle that's been sent in to us by Peter Marchetti, who composed it himself. This puzzle is complicated, by which I mainly mean that it has a complicated set of rules. So I'm going to go through those. I'm obviously going to provide you the puzzle to solve along with the rules, but it's worth keeping the rules and more on the screen, as I will do during the solve. So this is a mixture of Sudoku, normal Sudoku rules, Lits and Nurikabe, which are two kind of World Puzzle Federation puzzle styles. Now, as well as the standard Sudoku rules, there are 4 shaded tiles in each 3 or cells, in each 3x3 square, which form a T, L or S tetromino, and I've drawn examples of those here so you know what they mean. Each row and column of 3x3 squares has exactly one of each of these. So it could be T, L, S, then L, S, and you have to find a combination that works anyway. Also, the shaded squares form a valid Nurikabe, i.e., thank goodness he explains this, a single connected wall which has no loops and contains no 2x2 blocks of shaded cells. So we know that this cell and this cell can't be shaded cells because they would make a 2x2 block straight away. The bit about no loops, I think one other way of interpreting that is any white cell has to connect to the wall, to the perimeter of the grid. But I mean, I'm sure you can understand that any way you like. Now there's more, we're not finished yet. The shaded numbers in each 3x3 square, so there's obviously 4 of those, all sum to 20, but no combination of shaded numbers is used twice. So Peter's recommended that we make a list of the possible combinations that can yield 20, so I've done that, and we'll tick them off if we get that far. And let's have a go at this Sudoku Lits Nurikabe puzzle. So, okay, I mean, as I said, there are a couple of cells here that we immediately know cannot be yellow. So let's colour them in green. So we've got yellow will be in the Nurikabe wall and the tetrominoes, green will be outside it. And in fact, in this box, there's more because given these 2 cells, the 2 and the 1 can't be in the shaded cells as well. Now, Peter hasn't specifically said in his rules if given numbers in the grid, if they're in white at the moment, have to stay in white. Let's assume that's not the case, because, well, it would make it very easy over here. You'd have an S shape here, so I don't think that's likely to be one of the rules. In fact, you can establish it's impossible just from that, because that would be an S. Oh no, yeah, this would have to be either a T with this being an L. Sorry, let's put the S back. And then the Nurikabe couldn't connect up completely, because the only way into the south is from here, and that doesn't connect to these 4 boxes, wouldn't connect. So, oh, and if that wasn't a T, so this could be an S, then this might be an L like that. This would have to be a T, and none of the cells in row 6 would be in the wall, so it couldn't all connect. I mean, that's just establishing that we cannot be certain that we should be colouring green all the givens that aren't yellow. But we know that those 2 are now. So, and that's quite interesting for this, the numbers in the yellow piece up here, which must include this one as a yellow and one of these 2. Because these 3 cells, and whichever one it is, add up to 20 without a 1 or a 2. So they must be 3, 4, 5, 8 or 3, 4, 6, 7. We don't know which yet, so not worth entering anything to do with that particularly. Now, what else can we find to start with? Well, let's do some ordinary Sudoku. Perhaps we've got a 4 here and a 4 here. The 4 in the central box has to be in one of these two. Oh, here I am doing silly things with colour. Okay, sorry, the 4 has to be in one of those two cells. So, 4, 6, 1, 8, 4, 2. 9 has to be in one of these two cells in this box because of 2 9s above. One of these two shaded cells has to be a 2, which is quite interesting. Oh, this one is a naked single. We've got 6 5 8 2 in the row, 9 1 3 in the column, 4 in the box. That has to be a 7. And that means the only place for a 6 in this column is here. This is a 4 5 pair up there. 1 7 8 4 2. This is a 6 9 pair on the right. These are 5 and 3. We can work out which way round from that 5. So that box has finished up quite quickly. But there are quite a few possible shapes that would form 20 there at the moment. Right, 6 5 8 7 3 2. This is either 1 or a 9. I'm sort of mixing up my notation here, but never mind. That could be interesting in terms of the shape here and how it's going to add up to 20. 5, 8. What else? One of these is a 2 because of the 2s here and here. None of them is a 1, so we are down to 5 shapes. None of them is an 8, so the possible cells that we could be looking at, the possible combinations we could be looking at in the centre are those 3. Can't have a 5 either, because for these 3 to be connected, they have to be connected to a cell in this row, and 5 is ruled out of both sets. So I'm just going to go through that logic again to make sure I've got it right. In this box, what do the numbers add up to in the shaded cells? They must have a 2 in it. They can't have a 1. They could have a 1 in. There could be a 1 here. Okay, my logic wasn't good there. And I know from very recent experience that making illogical guesses, or rather making mistakes with the logic, can lead you into problems. So, that's annoying. I was confident that we were really onto something there. Right, get back to regular Sudoku. There's an 8 up there. 2. There's a 2 here, I think. 2 there, 2 there. 2 there, we can place a 2. Actually, that resolves the 2 in the central box. That could be 4, 9, that could be 4, 1 or 9. 4, 1, 5, 2, 8. These are from 3, 7, 6 and 9. So in fact, if there was a 1 in this shape, which would have to be here, it's impossible because 1, 2, 8, 9 is the only one that includes a 1 and a 2. So I'm right, there isn't a 1 in this shape. So we are now restricted. We also know there isn't a 5 or an 8 in this shape. And I believe that we are therefore restricted to 2, 3, 6, 9 as the only possibility. So we can get rid of 7 out of there. In fact, we've got a 3, 6, 9 triple in row 4. So these are 8 and 7. 6, 2. These can be any of 3, 1 or 9. So 2, 3, 9 and 6. But these can't be 6 or 3, so the 9 must be in row 2. The 9 is not up there. That puts a 9 here and a 6 here. And they connect up in an L shape with a 9 in the center somewhere. So we know that all of these cells are not in the Nurikabe wall, so that's good. Now, we don't know whether it's an L shape that side or an L shape that side. We just know that it's an L shape. That's good though. So that's an L. This box's shape can't be an L now because of one of the rules. We have a T, L, and S in each set of 3x3 boxes. So this row of 3x3 boxes has to have an L. And this either has to be an S like that, an S like that, a T like that. That's not possible because of the numbers, they don't add up right. A T like that is possible. That would have to be a 1. If it was an S, let's try if it was an S like this. I don't think that can work. None of these combinations make 20. S like this is possible if they were 1 and 9. So either S or T is possible. T is quite nice because it connects up to this shape in the central box, but it doesn't connect down here. S is quite nice because it does connect down here, but again, it doesn't connect with the central box here. Now, these 3 greens, that's quite an interesting set of greens because that is stopping box 2 here, connecting with box 1. Therefore, box 1, the yellow cells in it, have to connect down here into box 4. So we know that this yellow shape has to connect down here somewhere. Now it could be an S like that, or it could be an L like that, an L like that, or a T like that. I think those are the only possibilities. In all cases, this cell has to be yellow as well. Oh no, it doesn't. That's wrong, because L like that is also possible. But in none of those cases are these cells in the shape, so they're green. Yeah, interesting. I wish there was only one possibility for these two. It's a shame that both are possible. Interestingly, if that was an S, given the position of the yellow shapes, the yellow cells down here, they can't be a T. So that would have to be an L. This would have to be a T if this was an S. Whereas if this was a T, oh, everything's possible. Okay, that doesn't rule anything out. Okay, let's have a look up here. 9, 4, 5, 2, 6. No, we don't know much about that. How about, not much going on down there either. Oh, just kind of felt I was on the verge of a breakthrough there. We know it's an L shape in the middle, so this up here is not an L shape. We know it can't be a T shape, it must be an S shape. So we can complete the colouring up there, that's something. We also know that these are either, these have a 3 in, because they're either 3, 4, 5, 8 or 3, 4, 6, 7. That resolves 6 and 3 in the centre. 9 has to be in one of these two cells because it can't be in the shape up here. And therefore 9's in one of these cells, but we don't know which one. Oh, that is interesting for 9's because we know 9 has to be in the shape in the centre, so it has to be in column 4 or 6. We know it's in column 4 or 6 up there, so one of these two is a 9 down here. Didn't expect to get a deduction like that. Not sure it's going to help, but it's something. I really think this is the kind of puzzle where you just have to pick off deductions one by one and hope they move you forward. Now we've got an S shape up here, so we know that's not an S. This is either a T or an L, but L has various possible shapes that work, and T is also possible. Here, because this is an S, this also must be a T or an L. 6 has to be in the shape, therefore. There's no other, obviously, there's no other way of getting those connected. Now, this shape now has a 2 and a 6 in it. Its other numbers must be 4 and 8, or 5 and 7, or 9 and 3, but they can't be 9 and 3 because there's already a 9 in the box. 3 would have to be in that column and it can't be. 5 and 7, yeah, so we've either got 2, 6, 4, 8 or 2, 6, 5, 7. So the 9 is not in the shape. One of the 4 or 5 is in the shape, and the other one of these two numbers has to be either a 7 or an 8. So these three are not in the shape. So we can make them green. They include the numbers 1 and 3, but they also include either 7 or 8. Wow, okay, so 1 must be in one of these two cells down here. So we're either going to colour that cell or that cell in, and that will make it the difference between a T or an L here, which is annoying because it would be lovely to know if that was a T or an L in some shape there, but we can't resolve that yet. If this was the L shape here, how would it connect up with this piece? Well, probably using the 1. I know, probably is not really good enough to be going on. Maybe we just need to try one of these and see how it would go one way around, but that would be a shame at this point. It'd be nicer to come up with a fully logical solution, obviously. What can we find? What can we find to go on here? I mean, there are so many rules, it's hard to know which ones to focus on the best. 2 is either there or there in that box, but we don't know which. So there's an L shape here, an S shape here. This has to be a T shape. I should have seen that a while ago. We've established S here. This is L in one version or another. So down here we've got a T shape, and that means it's either going to involve those two cells or these two cells. So these three can all be coloured green at least. This shape doesn't have a 2 in it for what that's worth, which is not a lot. But it is a T shape. Now, that means, well, we knew that one couldn't be a T shape. This one could still be an S shape. Yeah, that could be an 8 and make an S like that, or there are various possibilities, I suppose, for over there. That's a little unlikely, as it wouldn't join on to this cell. There's a T in here. How can that help us? So this is either an L shape or an S shape. Whichever it is, these ones are all green and not in the shape. Maybe we should be focusing on connecting the whole wall together now. That feels more likely than that, but that would be possible if we then going down here. That would be 8. Oh, maybe that is impossible. 1, 7 would have to go with 8, 4, but that would make another L shape. Or with 3, 9, which isn't a tetromino. Yeah, okay, so if this was an L, this couldn't use the 1 because there's no shape that would work. So it would have to connect to this shape using 5, not the 1 or the 9. So what uses a 5 but not a 1 or a 9? Only 2, 5, 6, 7, which can't form a tetromino, or 5, 3, 4, 8, which would also form an L. And that would have to go with the L up here, which is impossible. So I think I've proved that this cell is not yellow. So we will make it green. This one is yellow. We still don't know which number is which, but at least we know the shape of this shape, which is a T. This one's an S. So we now have an L here, but it could still run down there or run down there. So can't actually learn much about that, but I know we've got an L up here. This one can't be a T down here, and now it can't be an L, so it has to be an S. So this is a T, and the way we worked out T was possible is like that. And that does give us another number. That one has to become a 1 now. Wow, I mean, that took some figuring out for me. I mean, there may have been other ways to get there, but I did not find that easy. Now, what else can we learn? Still, we don't know how that L works, but we know it's an L. This is an S, this is a T. This must be an L here. So this cell is in the Nurikabe. L here, T here. This one is an S. Yeah, we know that from both directions. So we've got to fit an S in here. Let's just have a look at the shapes and the numbers and see which one makes a shape there. So 1, 3, 7, 9, no. 1, 4, 6, 9, no. 1, 4, 7, 8, no. 1, 5, 6, 8, no. 2, 3, 7, 8, no. 2, 4, 5, 9, no. 2, 4, 6, 8, no. Now I'm getting scared that I've gone wrong. 2, 5, 6, 7, no. 3, 4, 5, 8, no. 3, 4, 6, 7, the last one. Let's assume I'm right so far. Again, if you've spotted logical errors like in my last puzzle, call me on it. I don't mind at all. But I'm going to go with colouring those yellow and green. So we've got an S shape there. It's an L down here, but we don't know which way it goes. We can put in a couple of greens. Maybe we do know a bit more about it. Now, one of these had to be a 2. So these are 1, 8, and 7. They include a 1 and either an 8 or a 7. So we've got 9 and 1 is 10, either 8 plus 2, but that wouldn't be an L shape. So it must be 8 plus 3. So the 3 is yellow. Excellent. So we can now make the other cells here green. And we know that this is 9317 as its numbers to make it up to 20. That allows us to get rid of 7s up here. This shape is now 6284 to make it up to 20. Let's just make sure we're highlighting the ones that we've used, 1379 and 2468. So we know what's in the shapes on this side of the grid and in the central box, and actually over here 1478. So I should highlight that as well. They're the used up ones. Now 3467 having gone is quite useful. We now know this shape up here is 3458. They can't be 4, they can't be 8, that bottom one can't be 5. 3, 4, 5, 8, 1, 2. We've got 9, 6, and 7. This one actually has to be a 7 now. That takes a 7 possibility out of there. And we've done another shape, 3, 4, 5, 8 up there. Now, where haven't we finished off the wall here? Down here, we know there's a T. Presumably, only one of these connect. It's got to connect this shape in, hasn't it? So there we go. I think we have now finished off the wall. Let me just see. Oh no, not quite, because I haven't established which way round the L goes in the central piece. So I'm just going to, oh no, and this L up here. Don't know about that at all. So in the central piece, the L has to connect with this cell to get all of these looped in. There we go. And that is useful in number terms because we know that we needed another 9 for that shape. Excellent. So that gives us a 4 there. That fixes this 6, 9 pair up here. 6 is in one of those 2 cells. Now, what is this down here? We don't know much about it. It doesn't have a 2 or a 3 in. So that's going to leave either 1, 4, 6, 9 or 1, 5, 6, 8. 6, 8. It can't be 1, 5, 6, 8 because this 6, 8 would mean that was 6, that was 8, or in that order. These would have to be 1, 5, and they can't be. We've got to have a 9 in this shape. So 1, 4, 6, 9, it must be. And that fixes where the 6 is happily. 6 must be there. These must be 1 or 4. We've got 5, 8, and 7 to put in the other 3 cells, and frankly, I don't know what order they're in. So, how about this shape? We've got 2 more shapes to go. This one's got a 2 in it. Oh, there's quite a lot of possibilities for that at the moment. And this is an L, but we don't know its shape. We do know it can't be that shape because that would form a 2 by 2 part of the Nurikabe wall. So it could still run down there or up there. So this is in it for what it's worth. Might not be worth very much yet. Now, we've got a 7. That is in fact a 7, 1 pair there. So this is a 3 up here. 1, 7, 9, 2, 6. These are 4, 5, 8 in some order. 3, 4, 3, 5, 3, 8. I mean, this is a tough puzzle. I mean, hats off to Peter for compiling it. It's a weird idea, but it really works as a puzzle once you've got your head around all the rules. So we still don't know what's going on up here. 1, 7, 9, 3, 4, 6. This has to be 5 or 8 in the corner, and that's in the shape. Doesn't really rule much out, annoyingly. If the shape was, let's keep going. Oh, look, 6s. There's a 6 there and a 6 there and a 6 there. 6 must be in the shape down here. And that means the other 2 are either, they have to be 5, 7, giving everything else that we've ruled in and out. So 5 has to be in one of those and 7 somewhere in it. 4 is either there or there. This is 1 or 8. 5, 5. One of those 2 is a 5, but we don't actually know which. Now, 7. 7 has to be there or there as well. So this column has to contain 5 and 7. Let's just knock out the 2, 5, 6, 7. We've only got one more number to find. If the L was that shape, it would contain 5 and 7, and that's not possible. So the L is not that shape, it's this shape. Wow, and I think we've got the whole Nurikabe wall complete now. This shape doesn't contain a 7, and it does contain a 2. It's either 1, 2, 8, 9 or 2, 4, 5, 9. So it has a 9 in it. So we can get rid of that 9. Oops, didn't mean to change the colour, but we can put a 9 in there. So it's either 2, 4, 5, 9 or 1, 2, 8, 9. And it can't be 1, 2, 8, 9. This can't be 1. None of these can be 1. So it's 2, 4, 5, 9. I'm going to highlight it just for completeness, although I'm not going to need the list again. That's a 5. 2, 4 and 9. Wow, 2, 4, 9, that fixes this 3, 9 pair. This can't be a 6. So the only 6 possibility in column 2 now is here. That resolves the whole shape down here and the shape up there. This shape lost a 5 possibility, but there are still 2 possibilities for that shape's order. This cell has to become an 8 now. That makes that one a 4. This one's a 1. 3 and 9 can be filled in there. The 9 in this shape is here. That resolves the 7, 1 pairing there. And 8 there. Not sure which way around. Oh yes, I am sure which way around the 5, 4 go, because that one of those has to be a 4. Wow, 7 here. These are 5 and 8. And I'm going to find out how from this set. Yes, 8 and 5. 1 and 4 are now resolved. Now we can do this shape up here. It must be in that order. That resolves this shape, and that finishes off all our yellow cells, and we're very near a finish on everything else as well. My goodness, that is a tough puzzle. Well, I hope you enjoyed it if you did it on your own. I hope you enjoyed seeing a way through it. I'm really not saying that's the best way through it or the only way, but it is a way through it. And pretty yellow wall in the end, as required. It is a single connected wall with no loops, although it has many branches. It contains no 2 by 2 blocks of shaded cells. And all the numbers in the yellow tetrominos add up to 20 in each group, and they're all different. Amazing. I mean, really interesting puzzle. I'm not going to say I think that could be a new genre, because the rules are so complicated, they're pretty hard to learn, certainly for anybody coming straight from Sudoku. But very enjoyable, very interesting puzzle. Thanks to Peter for sending it, and I hope you enjoyed that one. Do obviously subscribe to us. We're getting very near 50,000 if you haven't already, and don't forget Patreon. Some excellent content on there for our Patreon subscribers, 1 puzzle a month, which is always something a bit special, and we will provide videos as well on that channel. So thanks very much, and I hope to see you again soon on Cracking the Cryptic.